Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily Thursday Thoughts. Des here with the live question and answer session. Your chance to pose questions to me, to get me a little bit out of my comfort zone, answering whatever you'd like to know. Whether it's just an opinion, whether it's information about running, how I'm feeling, what I'm looking forward to, all things that we can hopefully use to inspire each other to keep pushing on. It's been a little bit the theme this week on DOdaily, hasn't it? Pushing through and keep attacking everything we do. I really need to do that today. After an absolutely amazing week, if you've tuned in to DOdaily, you'll see just how much I've been doing. Really, really good stuff. Really things I can be positive about. I've really enjoyed, made the most of. Put me in such a good mood, and made it all feel worthwhile, in honesty. But just today, it's just caught up on me a little bit, feeling really tired, feeling really under the weather, to be honest. I've actually slept a little this afternoon and I've got sore throat and a bad head. Don't think it's any worse than just feeling a little bit run down, but we'll take a test anyway, just to prove it. Don't want to get drawn into the whole COVID thing, because hopefully we're coming through that, and all the things I've done this week have shown how good it is in just sort of pushing on. Whilst I've not been feeling great today, one thing I have had the chance to do is watch a bit of the sport, the Olympics on TV. Spoke about that a lot last week, didn't we? And how we can be inspired by it and use it. Put a few pictures on, I think it was Tuesday at the end of the episode, just showing some of that success. It's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't it? Again, I have been busy, but around everything I'm doing and where I've been popping in and out of that, absolutely brilliant. Always creates a bit of feel good. And that leads nicely into last week's throwback question. Of course, I asked, what is your favourite Olympic event, and is there any you'd like to see added in? Dawn says her favourite is figure skating and she'd like to see darts included. I mentioned that last week. Some people might question whether that's a sport. Kay says she's really got into the BMXing. I think Megan said she really likes the ice skating and the ice hockey. More Winter Olympics, but of course that's not too long away now, is it? With all the delays and hold up, we're going to get a lot. I was looking earlier, the Paralympics as well. If we are looking for real inspiration, whilst these guys, of course, do inspire us, the Paralympics is in 19 days' time. So again, watching those guys, absolutely brilliant. It just shows how people push themselves to the absolute limit, despite adversity, despite whatever's thrown at them. And we're always talking about that, aren't we? I was just talking with the guys I've been to the coaching session with. Whilst I'm unable to take part myself, I've still got that sort of obligation, and still sort of fulfilling my commitments despite the fact I don't feel great. And it's just about being positive, taking what we've got and using it to the best of our ability. And that's really important, isn't it? The Paralympians show that like no other. So really looking forward to those starting too. Thanks for the feedback there. Really sort of enjoyed that. Before I go any further, I'll just sort of touch back on the week. Amongst all that excitement, of course, I spoke a lot about trip to London, the cricket yesterday. One or two things that kind of got a little bit washed up in everything, and they were still absolutely brilliant. And one in particular was the return of Park Run for me personally on Saturday morning, before a real busy day of the party and then heading to London for that half marathon. I actually got to go to Parkrun again. Anybody that knows me, anybody that watches DOdaily knows I really, really enjoy getting to Parkrun. And I've always said it's been a big part of my own personal journey, getting into running, using it to improve my mental health, to meet people, to take people along, to introduce people and sort of let them know, use it as an example to let them know what I got from it. And I managed to get back there this weekend after the Thunder Run effort the week before. I actually got back to my local park run at Colic, one of my favourite places as well. Did a little bit of volunteering, didn't actually run the park run, there's only one thing better than running it sometimes, and that's volunteering. When you feel like you're part of the team and you're supporting so many others. I think there was about 230, 240 guys there. I was a timekeeper, but I also did the course check. So I did get a little bit of a run in just to sort of make sure the course was okay, and then watched everybody come in. What a way to start the weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really, really enjoyed that. Really sort of set me up for the weekend. I always talk about that, don't I? I spoke about it on Friday, but since I forgot to mention it, with everything going off. But I thought it was really worth sort of noting, particularly as it leads us nicely into the first question, which is from Dawn. Now that parkrun is back, which UK parkrun would you most like to do and why? Well, it's interesting she kind of asked this because whilst I'm talking about a busy week and not feeling quite right now, the end of the week's also going to be extremely busy. We're actually heading away to the coast. Kate's parents have a caravan, so we get to use that as and when we can, and this weekend, just to finish off everything, it's going to be nice to get down there. It's not that far, a couple of hours in the car, but again, just a bit of time out to really sort of enjoy different surroundings. But one of the things we're going to do, is get along to the local park when it's not actually that local, but being an enthusiast, being somebody who loves parkrun tourism, we can get out there. I think it's about 20 miles away, to be honest. But we'll be going to Boston Parkrun. And like I say, the importance of parkrun tourism to us, going, seeing these things, it's always amazing wherever it is. They've really got the knack of sort of, I can't think of the word, sorry, that's what I'm saying for. They've really got the knack of making every parkrun pretty much the same. Whilst each one's got its own quirks, they've rolled it out across the world now. And whenever you go to one, the procedure, the setup, and it's going to be amazing. So we'll be going to Boston Parkrun, not too far from Skegness, seeing what that's all about. And then next week, we've got a bit of parkrun tourism too, as a delayed birthday present and yet more plans. We'll be travelling not too far away from Nottingham up to Doncaster to watch Rag and Bone Man on the Friday evening. And we're booked in for a hotel. So we're going to do the local parkrun there as well, and these things just make it all sort of something to look forward to. Whilst I've got to take it easy with my running and really sort of get on top of this injury, it's something I'm really looking forward to in the next couple of weeks. So immediately, they're the next two that I'm really wanting to do and get ticked off. I think out of the 101 I've done so far, 50 of them have been elsewhere from my favourite colic. Everybody does it a little bit different. Some people do all the ones in the same place. Some people choose to do them in different places every week. Me, it's about half and half. Colic is the one I've done, but I always like to get one ticked off when I go somewhere different. In terms of like which one I really want to do, in the last few years, I managed to tick a couple of those off. The London ones seem to be really appealing as a group. Do only like to go to London and get a parkrun in and spend the day there. We did Outstead Heath. I'd like to get back there actually. I feel like I've got score to settle. Not that it's about time, but for me personally, I'd like to get back there. I really enjoyed Ali Pali. One I'm really sort of interested in is one off the Irish coast. A good while ago, I was talking to Helen Ord, a lady from Parkrun who works at the head office, who's involved in new event deliveries, and she was telling me about this parkrun off the coast of West Island, where everybody gets the ferry over to it. The lady who's on the boats working in the cafe, she's running past her, and that's what it's all about. It's that spirit. So quirky ones like that. There's a couple in Devon and Cornwall that I really sort of be interested in taking part, because I've never ran in that part of the world, and there's not that many places in the UK I've not run now. So be really up for sort of getting down there and doing some of those. Me and Kay are thinking about booking a holiday at some point, so perhaps we'll kind of look around that, but nothing really stands out at the moment, but like I said, there's a couple to go out there, a couple of interesting ones, and a London one's always good. They're always quite busy, but quite easy to get to as well. So looking forward to this next 2 weeks and building on the tally, and just again, really pleased it's back. Whilst I volunteered last week, like I say, that's brilliant. It's uplifting. You're part of the team. You feel like you're sort of helping people get one in. Next couple of weeks I get to experience it again myself and make the most of it. Thanks for the question, Dawn. Really appreciate that. Really topical right now. Another sort of running related question, and of course I always say it's not about winning. It's not necessarily about winning this Thursday Thoughts. It's about whatever's on your mind. But of course it plays a big part in my life and the people I spend my time with. So it's always a good subject, and it's always something I know something about. Might ask the question: how do you fit your runs in while on holiday? Of course, we're in that season now, aren't we? We're in the summer season, and normally we'd be going on holiday, doing all the things we love. At the moment, we can still go on holiday to certain places, not quite where we want to, but that's going to become more and more sort of relevant again, isn't it? As time builds and restrictions loosen, people can get away, enjoy the things they do again, and start creating all that sort of good spirit. Take that break. I think through this sort of past few months, we've all been a little bit guilty of everything sort of coming back to us, and it's all been a little bit overwhelming. Even today I'm feeling it a little bit, but I wouldn't change it for the world, don't get me wrong, but I've needed this little break, even after a little break, to make it work. In terms of the question, and how do you fit ones in whilst you're on holiday, it's something I love doing. I spoke about the Park Run tourism there. And when we go to London, we like to get one in. Just do it. Just make sure you get out there for a run. Just make sure you take a few minutes at some point during the day. Normally I'll get it in before breakfast. Because I think the point of this question is what Mo's saying is, how do you do it so it doesn't disrupt the day? The best advice I can give on that, whether you're on holiday or home, and if you're busy, is to get it in early. It might mean setting the alarm clock for half an hour earlier, but believe me, when it's done, it'll build so much positivity. It'll make you feel fantastic about the rest of the day. You'll take it into your breakfast and your morning activities and your afternoon activities, and you'll feel absolutely brilliant. I was talking to the coaching guys about my trip to London and doing the half marathon. And whilst it was hard and difficult, and sometimes there's a little extra indulgence on holiday, just getting one in there, sweating it out a little bit, you always feel fantastic at the end. And that's what it's about, isn't it? Just keeping on top of things. Sometimes holidays and things can really break up routine, whilst you need them for a break and to break certain routines. If you're on a bit of a health kick or you're wanting to stay fit, and this is what you do, and you want to stay motivated, just take it with you. There's nothing better than going out there. You see new places. You see even more of the place than you would see just walking about, just planning things in. And I've ended up stumbling across some gems and then going back and telling Kay. The last sort of overseas holiday we went on, I actually ran 10k every day. We only went away for 5 days. Stopped in a place called Torrevieja, just south of Alicante in Spain. And I managed to get 5 10Ks in. It was really hot. It was really difficult. But I had a purpose to train for an event, and I didn't want to sort of drop off just before. So I was getting out there, really sweating it. But when you get back and you get your orange juice and your toast and your continental breakfast, it feels absolutely amazing. So my advice with that really would be to get it in early. Then you've got the rest of the day. You're not sort of stopping anybody else doing anything. It's a great way of attacking it. Thanks for the question. Like I say, particularly sort of relevant at this time of the year, and as more countries get onto that green list. And the final question this week is from Simon. What are you most looking forward to about the football coming back? I've been saying, anybody who's watched this, sorry, I just put that down a bit. anybody who's watched this from the start will be well aware of how much I love football. It does creep in, as much as I try not to let it creep in too much. I can't help but talk about it sometimes. I try not to sort of feature it too much because it's not a football vlog. There's plenty of people out there that do that much better than me. But what I have said all the way through is that I'm really looking forward to it getting back. When I've asked the question, what is the biggest thing you're looking forward to? Football often reoccurs, and I'll say I can't wait to get back into the City ground, watch Forest play again. I can't wait to hear Muller Kintyre. For those that don't know, it's the song that blast out before kickoff. It's going to be quite emotional, I feel. And that's not for another week or so yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. A full house, and just to feel like we've really broke down some barriers. Everybody's back together. Football's tribal, and you feel like a part of a network, a community anyway. So imagine it after all of this, when we've all worked so hard to get to where we are, and get to a position where we can go out again. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't want any restrictions placed on it. I'll be honest with you. At some point we have to live with this virus and COVID. So I want to get in there, feel like I'm part of that community again. Sing Muller Kintyre, and really sort of feel like we're back home again. Make it part of my routine every Saturday. Watching Forest, watching football over the weekend. It's something I've really missed. Whilst I've watched a lot during COVID, because there's been a lot to watch, there's been lots of live games, it's not been the same, has it? I don't care what anyone says. It's not been the same during COVID. When you can get there, when you watch games where there is a crowd there, it proved it in the Euros, whatever happened afterwards. The crowd was absolutely amazing in the stadium, and the singing and the atmosphere, and that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. But this weekend, I've actually got the ticket here. It only came not that long ago. It's on the arm of the chair. I'm actually going to Coventry. So another thing I'm really looking forward to is away games. Anyone who's a football fan who follows it the way I do. Whilst we like our own games, whilst we like the routine and sitting in their seats and our pre-match rituals, away games are extra special too. If you can go away and follow your team, it just feels like a bit of a treat every time. I've been doing it for 30 years. It still feels like a treat. First game back is at Coventry, not that far away. Sunday afternoon, fits in with my plans. So I'll be back from the coast Sunday morning. I'll be doing the running club and the coaching, and then to finish off an amazing week, I get to go to the football, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. The guys that generally go away are fanatics, a bit like myself. So it's all part of it. And I spoke there about football vloggers. Tomorrow evening, I'll be on Mr. Daw's channel, Daw on Tour, talking about Forest. He's asked me to come on. And again, it's something I did a lot last season, so it just feels like it's all building up nicely. Whilst it's not a major thing, it's great to be invited on. It's great to talk about something probably know much more about than trying to encourage people to get into running, to try and stay active. But like I say, for me, it's just that complete build-up, getting to talk about something I love. It'll really get me in the mood for the match. Probably get to meet one or two guys I've not seen for a long time, and that'll be brilliant too, won't it? Whilst you consider them friends at football, you kind of have your football friends, so it'd be brilliant to sort of catch up with one or two faces, see all the regulars, and really sort of throw ourselves back into that. Really, really looking forward to the weekend, guys. Hopefully you are too. Whilst I'm not feeling 100%, and the weather's turned a bit drab, hasn't it? There's plenty to be positive about, especially for me. Hopefully it's the same for you. But there's so much still to be positive about. Really loved my time off this week. It's made me sort of ready to throw everything back at it. What I do here through DOdaily, the Do Running community, trying to encourage people into activity and think about things that motivate and inspire themselves, and encourage sort of health and well-being, doesn't come naturally, like I said before, but it's something I really enjoy doing. And when I'm on top of my situation, my life, hopefully I can just sort of make that sort of transition of information that little bit more relatable. Just try and be honest, and just try and sort of be realistic about what I am and where I am and what I've got and what I've not got, and where I could do it better. I spoke a lot this week about my own personal sort of injuries and running, and I've got to take a good long look at that. It'd be easy for me to keep pushing ahead and ignoring everything and then saying something on here, but that wouldn't be me being true to my word. I appreciate all the support as ever. Do you know what? Fantastic questions there. If you've got anything to sort of add to that, please drop it in the comments. Let's get interacting through this. It gives people the chance. If you're not too sure about sort of asking questions, just drop a comment on there. Either tell me your favourite part one. How do you fit your runs in on holiday? And what are you most looking forward to about the football coming back? Or absolutely anything you want to comment. I'd really sort of appreciate some feedback. Like I say, it gets the interaction going. It might get a few views up as well. And that's what it's all about. As ever, we'll finish with a throwback. And I thought, based on that second question of how do you fit your runs in on holiday from Mel, where do you consider the most interesting place you've ever run? I'll set things off. I've actually done a park run in Milan. That was a little bit special. Done a few park runs in Ireland as well. They were great. Benidorm half marathon. One of the reasons I asked that, one of my real aspirations, one of my real bucket list things to do it with my running before I'm too old, too past it, or before this injury really takes its toll, is to run the New York Marathon. That's one thing I'd absolutely love to do. That's the one thing I've got left. I really want to tick off. Love New York. Like London last week, New York's always inspiring as well. No matter how many times you've been there. I've only been there once as it is, but I'd know if I went again, there'd be so much more to see. And like I say, like London, you can't help but be inspired by what you see on the television and all these things, So that marathon is one to tick off. Having done London, having got one or two big events penciled in now, probably had to pick some out and why has it been penciled, considering everything I've said. But that's what I'm really sort of wanting to do. What's the most interesting place you've run? Whether it's on holiday, whether you've gone to an event, whether it's just been by complete accident. Drop an answer in the comments. I'd love to read a few of those out next week. As ever, keep posting your questions to the email address des@dorunning.org.uk. I'd love to sort of get a few more, build up a bit of a bank. Always flows a bit better. I can kind of theme each week's episode. But once again, thank you to everybody that does get involved. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate people who watch the video. I'm quite pleased with the way it's going. Whilst there's one or two things I'd like to add in due course, it's a bit of a slow burner, especially when you've had a busy week. But do check back on that Monday motivation episode. That was absolutely brilliant. I've watched it a couple of times myself, if I'm honest. Really enjoyed doing that from London. So catch up on the week gone by. All the links to the social media are going across the bottom of the screen. And of course, next up, it's Wake Up to Walk. Whilst last week, things didn't quite go to plan, I ended up roaming around the Trent before everything that was happening ahead of me. I'll be back on that Robin Hood way. I've made it work. Speaking about sort of getting things in whilst you're on holiday or whilst you're away. Tomorrow I'm making it work because it's on the way to where we're going at the coast. So I'll be doing more miles along that trek from Nottingham Castle up to the Major Oak, before jumping back in the car and heading down to the coast for a nice weekend. Looking forward to that episode. Looking forward to sort of taking all the pace out of everything. Hopefully I feel a bit better for it. But I know once I get out there, the fresh air will rejuvenate me, make me feel fantastic about what I'm doing again and really look ahead to the weekend. Big weekend planned, but it's about pushing on, isn't it? It's about pushing through and doing what we have to. If you do that with positivity and enthusiasm, you can do absolutely anything. So have a great evening, guys. Until next week. Keep posting those questions. Please like, share, and subscribe to the episode. That would be absolutely amazing. If you can, check out Door on Tour's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe that. I'll be on tomorrow night talking about Forest for those Reds. And of course, I'll be back on Monday, hopefully, with 3 points and infusing and about an amazing game. Knowing Forest, it's not always that straightforward. Just doing it.